Welcome to the Rock is George podcast. I'm your host, George Dionne, and this is episode 55. Thank you for tuning in at rockisgeorge.com, knac.com, YouTube, or on the many podcasting platforms that we appear. I have two guests for this episode, Stet Howland and Jean Hyatt. They recently released their debut album, Howland Hyatt, through Mindsnap Records. It's a fantastic hard rock and blues album. It kind of took me by surprise. I didn't even know that Stet Howland was working on a new album. I first met Stet Howland back in the late 90s. I was probably in my early 20s. I had never really met or shook hands with somebody in the music business or anything like that. And I saw that he was playing this dive bar in my hometown of Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm like, geez, why is Stet Howland playing a dive bar in Wareham, Massachusetts? He's in Wasp. And I decided to see if I could get his attention, meet him, take a picture with him. And he did all those nice things. He was a great guy. What I later found out is that he was from the same area that I grew up in. His band Run 21 was a covers band. I think they did some originals back in the early 80s, and they were quite popular in Wareham, Massachusetts, and all the surrounding towns. So that explains why he was there. It was more of a homecoming or sort of a low-key going back home. I want to play a gig while I'm there. I bumped into Stet again several times throughout the years. He's always been a great guy. I've always been a fan of his work, not just with W.A.S.P, but everything that he's done. I mean, Stet has gone on to play with Lita Ford. He's played with Belladonna, the Mike Viscera Project, Temple of Brutality. He's currently the drummer of Metal Church. And like I said, he's got this great new album with his buddy Jean Hyatt. I don't have a gigantic history on Jean Hyatt, but he's going to give you a brief history in this interview. So let's get to Stet Howland and Jean Hyatt of Howland Hyatt. If I knew absolutely nothing about Howland Hyatt, how would you describe the band's music to me?
You know, the funny thing is, it was, I've said it in the past, it's basically, it's an eclectic collection of songs that Johnny and I just happened to record over the years, but a lot of it was done over the pandemic. And like it started, one of them is a Beatles remake, and we kind of just did that for fun, you know, just to do a thing while we're thinking what was next. And then Johnny had some songs that we pulled out and developed, and our friend Livio, the singer, he had a couple songs he brought in, and we kind of just recorded good songs, you know. And then at the end, we had a collection of really good songs, and I was like, geez, Johnny, what are we gonna do with this? You know, I talked to a couple of people in the business, and my friend Opus from Mindsnap Entertainment said, I know exactly what to do with it, bro. And he set us up a whole pipeline with great distribution. We have skateboard marketing, and Muncie at Skateboard handling our radio. I mean, we have real stuff going on, you know, and it was all almost by accident. So to describe the music, it's rock and roll, but it's not the metal you would expect, really. But there is a couple pretty heavy songs, you know. So it's a very wide range, right, John?
Yeah, it's kind of like Led Zeppelin record in the sense of every song's different from one to the next, but you can still, it's very identifiable, you know, the playing styles.
Yeah.
Johnny, how did you and Stet first meet?
Oh God, I met him way back in New England, and when I was 18 years old, about 35 years ago.
You guys have kept in touch ever since, huh?
Ever since, yeah.
Great. And had you guys tried working together in the past, or was it because you had conflicting schedules and then the pandemic lockdowns made this the perfect opportunity?
We've had a lot of different musical projects over the years. Back in 2003, we did Southern Rock Legends together. Before that, my band used to open up for Run 21 and in the Cape, and you know, just a whole bunch of stuff over the years, just back and forth. And then when he was recording the Metal Church record, I was engineering the drums, and that's when we laid down a lot of the foundation for the record.
Excellent. And how did you bring in the other members of the group, Jerome, Michael, Livio, and Chris?
Well, Livio's a mutual friend of ours, and he came down and was in the studio and with me in Florida, and had a couple of great songs. And I said, you know, we're a couple short. These would be great for the record. So we just recorded those. And Jerome we met in Vegas when we were out in Vegas, and Michael T is just a longtime friend of ours too. That we knew he was a great keyboard player, so we just had him come in on the record.
It seems like everything came together perfectly for this release. Let's talk a little bit about the singles. The album self-titled that's been out since May 13th. One of the singles that you released is Wrapped in Chains, if you want to kind of give an idea of what that song's about.
Well, it's funny. Wrapped in Chains is one that Livio brought in. These guys actually recorded like an acoustic version of it at first. And I heard it. I'm like, oh man, that's a rocking song. So it was actually Livio was the writer of the song. So he's not here right now, but he'd be the one that knows the deep meaning of the song. For me, I hear a melody and a strong lyric, and I'm like, oh, Wrapped in Chains. And it has like almost a Southern rock hook. It's cool. It's a cool song. It's like an Allman Brothers song more than a Metal Church or Wasp song. You know what I mean? And it's got a great hook. We can make up all sorts of stories what it's really about, but I don't know the true deep meaning. You might.
I don't. No.
Shallow. I mean, you believe this, George? But that's just being honest. But we have a video for Wrapped in Chains, and it's great. It's just, it looks like a bunch of guys that really love each other, and it looks like happy people that you want to be around. It's one of the first videos that I've heard people say, he looks like a friendly, nice guy that I'd like to know. I'm like, usually they look at me and go, I don't know, man, that guy's creepy. Like, you know what I mean? So it was a feel good video, and the song, I think it's a winner. I don't even know if it's been released as a single yet. I think we're still on. We've been so busy. We're in Sweden. We played Sweden Rock last night with Jean Beauvoir, and we rehearsed 2 weeks solid before that. And I was moving for about 10 days before that. So I haven't really been on top of what's been going on out there. You're our first interview. I've been supposed to be doing interviews and stuff, and I haven't done shit. I'm sorry. I've been busy, stuff going on. And we just did the show last night, and I told our Shauna, our publicist, I'm like, okay, we're going to be at the hotel. We're at a resort hotel, and we got the next 3 days off. We got passes to the festival, but I'm festivaled out for the first day. So we're doing press today, and you're our first one, man. And it's exciting. When I found out it was you, I thought it was great. I just thought it was great. They're like, dude, it's a KNAC. It's awesome. I'm like, the hell with that. It's my friend George. You know what I mean? I guess it's all a win, win-win.
In keeping with Holland Hyatt's kind of, we're hard rock, not metal, but we got that blues tinge. You did pick probably the bluesiest cover song out there, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Obviously, Beatles' big influences on both of you.
Of course. And we were looking for a groove song just to start recording, remember?
Oh yeah, and that's absolutely one of my favorite songs. And I said, let's just cover this. I think we could do a really good job, with giving it more of a modern but still classic sound.
The guitar work on it's great, man. I got to say, and the bass work, Jerome is, dude,
he's unreal.
The bass work on that song is beautiful. It's just beautiful. That guy's all over the place in a good way. He's a gem. He likes that room. Actually, everybody in the band is really, really special, and they're really great people. They're all, incredibly talented, and we were lucky. Everybody just was free to record. That's why they're on it. It's like most of the time, I use Steve Unger, my bro from Metal Church, in projects. But as it happened, Steve was in Seattle, and
we were both in Vegas,
and Jerome was in Vegas, and Jerome was his friend. I'm like, well, I know Jerome. He's great. And he's like, okay, he's gonna play on a song. And it was so great. I'm like, he's gonna play on another song. I'm like, dude, he's great. Let him play. Let fate handle it. And we're real happy with him and everyone. And we're waiting for good show offers. We were gonna do a bunch of record release shows, and when we figured it all out, it wasn't gonna be a big money maker. And I was like, let's just wait. Let the record do its work and wait for the money offers a little bit. Let's cherry pick in our old age. We're not so much into getting in a van and driving across the country and making no money. But there's a few things that'll be coming up, so we'll build around that. We get an anchor date, we'll put a couple around it. There's a few in the works. So
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I know that this album is about a year in the making. Are you working on new material for the next album?
Yes,
absolutely.
We are. My next move, Johnny and I are going back to Florida and starting drums on the new Metal Church record. That's the next thing I'm doing. And then Johnny and I are going to start putting down some new stuff for the Howland Hyatt, while I'm fresh and hot in the studio,
So yeah, we could try to get some more tracks done for the next record while we're recording the Metal Church record.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed it, but who is going to be the vocalist for the next Metal Church album?
There's no announcement yet. It's a thing that hasn't quite, it's not a final deal yet. The process of finding a vocalist is, people are, trying to produce results, It's not the type of thing where we're having people in and doing auditions and stuff like that. It's just, there's some, and I can't mention, the name. That's the deal. We're not talking about it. But we are moving forward, and obviously there will be a singer, but there's nothing to announce yet.
Okay.
But we have some amazing music done. I'll tell you. And so I'm getting ahead.
It sounds great.
I'm getting a head start on it. We want to get the band going again. It's we're coming up on a year losing Mike, and man, I got to tell you, I wore his memorial shirt yesterday at the after our show at Sweden Rock, and it's like, man, I did a signing. We did a signing with Jean Beauvoir, which was electric. There was hundreds and hundreds of people lined up for. God, we must have signed for 2 hours.
We did. Yeah,
it was like a 2-hour. It never ended. I could not believe it. And I got many, many, many kind words about Mike, and inquiries about what's going on. And like all I can say is it's not over, because people are like, oh no, the band's gonna be over. It's like that's all I can say publicly is it's not over, and we won't do anything that we don't think is great.
Let's talk a little bit about Jean Beauvoir, because you guys are in his backing band that you played last night with him at Sweden Rock Festival. John, I believe you've been with Beauvoir for a little while.
Actually, I've known him for several years. We've done a couple of shows with him before this one, and he called both of us up, and some of our other friends to go ahead and put together a band to do this, specific date over here. So that's been taking up a lot of our time.
Definitely one of the more underrated rock stars out there, I think. I didn't really get his due in the States, but in Europe, from what I understand, quite popular.
I always refer to him as a superstar. I say, yeah, I'm holding the drum chair with superstar Jean Beauvoir and legacy act Metal Church. You know what I mean? That's right now. That's the things I'm interested in. I'm a member of Metal Church. Like it's an even split where it's a band. It's crazy. And John, we're a part of his backing band, and we love it. I help him behind the scenes with business a bit and stuff. We've always been good friends. I think he's an amazing artist, and he's just a dear friend. I love the guy. Last night after the show, I was in the van, ready to go back to the hotel and chill.
All trying to get back to the hotel.
All ready to go back to the hotel. I had my fun, had a few drinks, and he's like, "Oh no, fuck that." He's like, "Get on, man." And we went out for another 4 hours of hell, and we went to we went to see Megadeth, and we went to the VIP. We raged for like another 3 or 4 hours. I couldn't even believe it. It was awesome. But that's what I mean. It's like he's not like your, an asshole rock star guy. He's like your buddy. He's like, come on, Stet, man. We're in Sweden, dude. Come on. I got a whole, and he pulls out a bottle of, what was that?
Jägermeister.
Jaeger. Yeah, a bottle of Jaeger. I'm like, okay, dude. And we drank the whole damn thing, It's like, but he's wonderful. Incredibly talented artist, unbelievable voice, unbelievable presence. Everywhere he goes, he lights the freaking room up. It's crazy, dude. I mean, he's great. He's great to be around.
Absolutely.
We're real happy. And we went to a pretty grueling 2 weeks of rehearsal. We really worked hard, and it was worth it. We had a good show yesterday, and he was well received, and there's a lot of good things ahead for him, and we're going to be a part of as much of it as we can.
Are you guys working with any other bands? I mean, you're touring working musicians, not just, I know you got Metal Church and Holland Hyatt and Jean Beauvoir, but you're working musicians. There's always the next gig.
I've got a local band back in Fort Myers Beach, Radio Ghost. We just, we're a cover band. We go out and do some we work, 3-4 days a week when I'm not doing anything else, and I'm not on the road. That's who I'm playing with.
They're awesome. They're so good that me and Jean Beauvoir were down there like a couple Monday nights ago, and I'm not kidding you. We sat there right in front, and they played a song that like the boys are back in town. I look at John, I'm like, man, that was great. The double guitar lead was perfect. Then they went into something else, and that was great. I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong. Was that not awesome? He's like, yeah, that was killer. I mean, these guys slayed us. I was like, wow, they're really, really, really good. I got a few things going. I got a thing with my buddy Monk in Vegas. It's called Love Sick Devil, and we're gonna do like a charity record. Johnny, you'll probably be engineering and playing on that as well. And I got a project going with Tommy Bolin from Doro. he's an awesome guitar player and just a good friend. And it's the working title is NYC. He's got a few records with it, and it's a real cool thing. We're getting ready to work on a record. And I got a few things, happening on the side like that. And I'm getting more into the drum clinic thing. And I've been a counselor at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp for a few years now, which is a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things to do. That is, yeah, it's awesome, And David Fishoff's a good guy. He put the whole thing together. He took the baseball fantasy camp vibe and he turned it into, rock and roll fantasy camp. And I'm lucky to be a counselor. And now I've done it several times, so I think I know what I'm doing now. It's really fun now. At first, you're almost scared shitless because you're like, Jesus, it's like you got Rudy Sarzo and Tony Funk and Vinny Appice, or all these guys are counselors, and it's like, wow, the heavy hitters, Billy Sheehan and like
Tony Franklin, Joe Perry, people like that.
Tony Franklin's like my little butt. I love that dude. So yeah, it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing.
Let's talk a little bit about Howland Hyatt's record label, Mindsnap Music. How did you guys come about them to release the album?
Opus, the president of Mindsnap, he's a good friend of mine. He's a great drummer and a great guy. He played with my friend David Ellison for a while, but we knew each other before that. But we really became close in recent years. And when I was done with this record, when we were done with it, I was like, geez, I don't know what to do, Johnny. Let me talk to a couple of my friends. And I went to Opus and I said, hey man, I got this record that we did, and I guess I want to release it. What do I do? Should I just do CD baby or something? He's like, hell no, man, I know what to do. And he called Larry Toering, who's over at Von Artists, and they're associated with the Sony Orchard and this distribution. So in like a couple of days, we had an awesome deal to put together. Amazing distribution. Everything was like a major record deal, just without big advances. And I'm like, I don't really need the advances, not to be a dick, but that's not what I need. I need my record to be, available and professionally looked after. And it's been amazing. They're amazing. So Opus put the whole thing together, all of it. And Mindsnap is our, the label under Von Artists and distributed by the Orchard. So when we first signed up, it was Sony Orchard. I'm like, this is killer. We got Sony on the record, dude. And by the time we got to printing it, business changed and we couldn't put the Sony on there anymore. And they're like, we got a little bad news. We can't put Sony on there, but everything else is still the same. I'm like, I don't give a shit. As long as you do, and they've done amazing.
They really have. I mean, just Muncie alone has got us, I think we debuted at 37 on the charts and we're up to 18 now.
Yeah, this week. All sorts of, there's all sorts of, all the crazy charts out there. We've been doing good. We've getting a lot of spins and ads, and and some of it's obviously people that are friends and stuff. But we've been doing good. I mean, when we're getting we're on a steady uphill movement, and we haven't done it. This is the first thing we've done. We haven't done shit. I'm gonna be a little more active now. When we probably should do a couple shows in a minute. I'm so excited about it. Doing well, it's more of a labor of love.
You should be excited about it. It kind of hit me by surprise. I'm like, Stet Holland has an album out. I had no idea. Listened to it, freaking blew me away.
Well, I'm glad, and John, a big part of it for me is like the world needs to know who this guy is. I mean, it's a unique player. I mean, a very unique melodic player. A lot of great elements, you got the Vi elements, the Satriani. There's a lot of great, but he's a little more melodic, but equally interesting. So I just feel like, I've been lucky, I didn't turn into, maybe Tommy Lee or whatever, as far as everybody know who I am. But a lot of people, the career is great right now. I'm doing a lot of stuff, and I just want my people to know who he is, So I'm like, well, let's do this record and do it for real, so the world can hear you. And it's they're hearing it, and it's those instrumentals are just fun, and and it's really all about him kind of on those. I'm playing a little bit, but it's he's doing the work.
Johnny, are there any other recordings out there that we can hear you on?
Actually, I have a bunch in the archive, so to speak. So yeah, I'm gonna be going through them and seeing what's decent, and maybe have Stet recut some drums on some stuff, and that'll probably be part of the next record.
Awesome.
Yeah, as of right now, you can go to my
You didn't mention the Flying Hasselhoffs, which is an amazing band.
Oh, that's another original band. Yep.
Dude, his band, the Flying Hasselhoffs, is one of my. I'm sorry, I didn't remember that's not good. Yeah, this band, the Hasselhoffs, is outstanding. I mean, outstanding. I have them on my playlist on my computer, in my studio. It's really good stuff.
Hey, Wasp is touring the U.S. for the first time in 10 years. What do you think about that? That's kind of a big deal, right?
I think it's great. Yeah, I mean, if I was to tell you the truth, I would tell you that my agent had a couple of good shows for Blackie, and I gave him a ring and told him to call to talk, and that they booked the whole tour around it. I would probably indirectly take credit for it, but that's not cool. It's not. It really wasn't me. No, but I gotta say, I'm excited for him. I'm in touch with Blackie. He was my friend through my cancer ordeal. I'm still friends with everybody in the band. It's like, so I'm very, very excited that they're coming through, and I want to go to a show. It's weird. I've never seen the band without me. You know what I mean? I've never been to a show with someone else playing drums. Yeah, but they start in Vegas, October 28th. So I'm gonna maybe be there. I don't know, but I know it's the first shows aren't any fun. Like I know that, like, if I was to show up, there'd be a good chance I wouldn't even get to say hi to Blackie because he's gonna be mad at somebody. I don't know, not necessarily, but usually it takes like a week or two for everybody not to be pissed off, But maybe not anymore. I don't know. Maybe because we were always like hurrying. He's been doing it for a long time now, again, and I'm sure they have a system worked out. They got a great band, man. They got Doug Blair from Run 21 still playing guitar.
That's right.
And Duda from Connecticut on bass. He's awesome. And Achilles Priester from Brazil on drums. He's like amazing, and he's the sweetest, nicest guy in the world. So I love everybody in the band, and I would like to go to a show, and I intend to, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a couple of years ago, it was my agent was like, I got a couple of great Wasp offers. You think you could get to Blackie? And I sent him over, and they eventually talked, and I'm so happy that they got more than shows. They got used those shows as anchor dates to build the tour and stuff, I guess. And if now that I think about it, I think my agent said that once someone at his agency grabbed it from him or something. I don't remember all the details, but you know how rock and roll is. One way or another, they're back in America, and I'm excited for them and all the fans, because the fans deserve it.
Maybe we could see you jam with him on one of the tour stops. It's probably more likely you than Chris.
Yeah. Holmes is Holmes and him just. I've been wanting those guys to mend it. I love those. I love them both. I don't know if you saw Holmes' documentary, but I was in it, and it's like, I was in it. I'm like, I know for a fact Blackie loves Chris. I know it. But I understand that the business isn't necessarily all correct. But it was before my time.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't. I feel that if Chris isn't getting publishing, he should get some, but I wasn't there yet. And he's just fought cancer, and I'm wishing him the best. I know exactly what it's like that, he had radiation and chemo. I had chemo. I had extreme chemo, and but it saved my life. I came back from stage 3, blood and bone cancer. How the hell did they get that out of you? You know what I mean? It's like, right. It's in your blood and bones, but we're going to fix it. Like, are you kidding me? You got a laser beam? It's crazy.
You're in total remission?
I'm in remission. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
Good
I
to
feel
hear.
pretty good too. I'm 85%. And that's pretty good. I feel good. And, you know, I'm playing and singing pretty good. And then I'm working. Played a festival yesterday. It was great, man.
Now we had the best time.
We had the best time. And Jean Beauvoir, again, what a fun artist. I mean, people love him and the songs are great. He's an amazing writer and singer, but he's my pal. You know,
He's our friend
he's our friend. He's got a yacht down in Fort Myers Beach. We get down there and get rotted for like all afternoon on Sunday. You know what I mean? We go down and have Bloody Marys and stub our toes and all sorts of dumb shit.
It's crazy. He's got a Great Dane of the size of a small horse, and we go everywhere with that dog.
Oh yeah.
When we do hang out, and Rocky's he gets more attention than any of us do.
Yeah, the Great Dane, his dog is like, it's beautiful, but we bring him places and all of a sudden there's like a semicircle of people around us. It's great.
Have you guys been asked to work on John's new album?
We have.
Nice.
We have.
Is it going to be John's album, or is it going to be Crown of Thorns, or is it going to be Voodoo X? I know he's got a lot of different project ideas.
Well, he's not a man that's short on ideas. I'll tell you that. That guy is a fountain of the guy's.
He's a genius.
He's a musical genius. He really is. He's a musical genius, and yeah, he's a fountain of creativity. You know, not unlike my Kurt Vanderhoof from Metal Church is like a fountain of creativity as far as guitar riffs. I mean,
my God, yeah. I don't know how he does it.
We don't know how he does it. The guy keeps coming up with amazing, fresh stuff that doesn't sound like the last record. It's amazing. But John is just like a musical genius, and so we don't even know what's next. I just know that we're setting up everything, and I just broke down my studio in Vegas and brought some of the key components to Florida, and we're going to assemble the studio in Florida as soon as we get home and start the Metal Church. And then, I have a handful of other things, but John is, high atop the list, and whenever he wants to work, he'll just come over and bang out some drums. I'm fairly quick.
Well, the new album for you two is Howland Hyatt. It's self-titled. It's on Mindsnap Music, and it is fantastic. I encourage any rock and roll, hard rock fan to check it out. I'm glad it's doing well for you guys.
Our total pleasure, man. It's so
Absolutely.
good to see you.
Once again, I want to thank Stet Howland and John Hyatt of Howland Hyatt for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Be sure to check out their latest self-titled debut out on Mindsnap Media. If you like what you hear streaming, make sure you buy a physical copy online or at the shows. Support the artist. For all things Stet Howland and John Hyatt, head to their website, howlandhyatt.com. I also want to thank Shauna O'Donnell of O'Donnell Media Group for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. I'll see you again soon.